What it do, y'all? It's your girl Makeup and Travel, and for today's video your girl is here to bring you another video in my multi-look series. In this particular video though, it is going to be extensive. I'm going to be showing you swatches, I'm going to be showing you guys comparisons, I'm going to be showing you guys multiple looks, and then I'm going to be giving you guys my thoughts and kind of my current thoughts, if you will, when it comes to this collection overall. I am extremely excited, but I don't want this to be a long intro. This is going to be a long enough video. So let's get into it. Alrighty guys, so like I said, I am stupid excited for what is to come in this video, but first I want to do an overview. Now this is a collaboration between Clionadh Cosmetics and Emily Violet Marie. Emily Violet Marie is a YouTuber. She was active pre-COVID, but since then she has kind of slowed down, which is understandable, but I will have her channel and of course Clionadh Cosmetics' website linked down below for you all. Now I did pick this up on initial launch. I did not pick up the full collection, but I did want to pick up a couple of items that I thought I would get a lot of use out of, and I saw reviews from people who had this in PR, and I thought these would be products that I would actually genuinely enjoy. So I did take the time to watch those videos. I would recommend you watching more videos in the event that you like what I say, and maybe if you don't like what I say, all of that and anything in between. Like I said, I picked up a couple of things. Let's go through the overview. First thing that I picked up, one of the multi-chrome highlighters. This is the packaging, really pretty cover graphic arting that says that it's a fruit lighter. On the top, it just further amplifies that this is the collaboration. Size, you just have this really pretty decoration. On the back, you get some more information about the product right there, and then the bottom you just get some product details. So on those product details, it says that this has a 24-month shelf life. This actual packaging is recyclable. The product is vegan and cruelty free. It is made in Toronto, Canada, and you have 0.3 grams net grams of product. I'm not very good at ingredients, but I do recognize that there is, I believe, some dimethicone. Yeah, there's dimethicone in both of the highlighters, and if I remember correctly, that is something that can be irritating to some people's skin, so do keep that in mind. But I do believe that that is what makes this kind of have that baked chalet type formula. So in the event that you are interested, this is what the actual packaging of the highlighter looks like. Very reflective, very pretty, and this is what the back dictates, and once again just some basic information. Once you open it, there is no mirror, but that's perfectly fine, and inside you get this beauty. As it states, this is a multi-chrome highlighter, and I'm just going to take the time to swatch this very quickly. So this is what the swatch looks like on my skin tone. I do have a couple of lights on me right now, so hopefully you guys can see all of the reflex. This is a beautiful highlighter, and in the event that you need to see it blended out, it blends for days. So I would say a little bit goes a long way in the event that you are not a fan of a very beaming highlighter. But you guys will be seeing me apply this on my skin, all of the looks that I do in this video, so don't be too concerned about that. Okay, then next we have the brushes. Brushes come in their own packaging, which is kind of really cool. It's like a packing tube situation. You see it really continues to follow the Dragonfruit type situation. You even get the seeds inside, and you even get the seeds inside the actual packaging as well. I did already take all of these out of their single packaging, but in the event that you care, each brush came packaged in like this plastic, and all of the brushes came packaged in this bigger plastic inside the tube. So they were very kind of covering their bases on that. I did take the time to kind of clean my brushes before I used them. And then this is what the brushes look like. Please don't mind the coloring. I just used them today. But you see you have a highlighter brush, you have an inner corner brush, you have a couple of blending brushes, and then a couple of lid brushes as well. Overall, I think that they did a really good job with the different sizes, and the brushes that I have tried thus far are extremely soft, very soft. Let me see, does this give any information? They don't give any information, but I believe these are synthetic. But I will put on the screen if I was incorrect in that, but I'm pretty sure that these are synthetic. So yeah, it's really nice. I will just try and see if my camera will focus so I can show you guys some of the detailing. So on the ferrule up here, it actually has the symbol for Clionadh Cosmetics. On the kind of handle, they also say that it's a Clionadh Cosmetics and Emily Violet Marie collaboration. And then each brush is actually labeled or named. So I really enjoy the detailing. I really enjoy the thought. And once again, the green and the pink really showing that they're continuing with the theme when it comes to dragon fruit. So yeah, so far I'm really enjoying these brushes, but I have only used them once at the point of me recording this part. Lastly, and certainly the most important, is the eyeshadow palette. And so on this palette, you get its own individual packaging, of course, and as you can see, it is spectacular. Multi-chrome words on there, really pretty. On the back, you get all of the information on each individual shadow, which is really helpful. So in the event that there's one particular shadow that irritates your eyes, maybe you can figure out what the ingredient is. And very similarly to what is on the packaging for the highlighter, you get that same kind of detailing there as well. So overall, really cool. Then on the eyeshadow palette, you also get it kind of shrink wrapped or whatever. I don't really know, but let's just take that off now. Really cool, extremely effective covering. As you can see, very hard for my camera to even focus on it. And then on the back, it's kind of a little bit more see-through or like jelly-like. So if you're into nail polishes, this is kind of like a jelly kind of finish with a nail polish. And then they have some description on the back for that. There is a huge mirror. I'm not going to show you guys because, you know, it's a bit much. And then this is what the shadows look like. So for this palette, it has a 24-month shelf life. It is vegan and cruelty free, which further dictates that I'm pretty sure those brushes are synthetic as well. They has a net weight of 0.65 grams or 0.56 ounces. And this is once again homemade in Toronto, Canada by the owners of Clionadh Cosmetics. Yeah, so that is an overview of all of these products. What we're going to do now is we're going to get into swatching each individual shadow on my complexion. I'm just going to continue on with the kind of trend that I've been doing lately where I swatch on my arm. You know what? No. I'm going to have time when I get home from work. It should definitely be light tomorrow. So we are going to go to an overhead view right about now, where I'm going to swatch each individual shadow. But on the screen, I will show you guys my Instagram photo that I'm going to be posting on my Instagram. Feel free to follow me if you're interested. And yeah, really exciting. Let's get into the swatches. Alrighty guys, so for this part of the video, we are going to go ahead and start off with just swatching this palette. I do have natural light coming out from over here, and I do have a ceiling light in the back. So that's all of the lighting. So hopefully this is kind of as true as it would be in person if you did pick this up. And once again, this is the Dragonfruit palette, which is a collaboration between Clionadh Cosmetics and Emily Violet Marie. So what I'm going to do is just swatch it row by row on this arm. And yeah, first we're going to start off with Bubbles. And Bubbles is one of the 2 multi-chromes that are in this palette. So it says that these are a part of their Vibrant Multi-Chrome collection, which is a rich, colorful base with a strong multi-dimensional shift. And this also is the glitter multi-chrome. So this has a glitter in it. This is one of my favorite formulas. So I will definitely be comparing this to the glitter multi-chromes that I currently already have. Next is Refresh. And Refresh is touted to be their metallic formula. And yeah, there you go. Next we have Strawberry Pear. And Strawberry Pear is one of the velvet satin finish formulas. This is the multi-purpose formula, features smooth saturated color that can be applied like a matte or a metallic. And the Refresh or the metallic formula, I apologize, I forgot to say, this is a highly pigmented formula which features soft buttery textures that make for easy application. Last shade in this row is Dragon Teeny. I believe this is the same name as one of the highlighters, and this is a vibrant multi-chrome, and I've already given you guys the description. So these are the two that I will really be aiming to kind of dupe out from my stained glass collection, but we'll see. I may be able to dupe out some others. Starting the second row, we have Infusion, and Infusion is their Sparkle Shadow formula. This Sparkle Shadow formula is packed with sparkle and shimmer. This formula offers an intense and dimensional finish, and that is this shade right there. Really, really pretty. I feel like you can easily see that duochrome shift between that really nice lavender to that kind of peachy, orangey red shade that it also offers. Next, we have High Low Serious, I believe. And this is one of the duochrome formulas. Very, very smooth formula. So the duochrome formula is a classic Clionadh formula full of color shifts and shine. This formula, these shadows are perfect for one and done eye looks. Next we have Sweetened. Sweetened, once again, is a part of their Velvet Satin formula. To finish out this row, we have two more. Next, we have Exotic. Exotic is a metallic, and it is a high pigment formula that features soft buttery textures that make for an easy application. Apply them with your preferred application method for metallic eyeshadows. Last shadow in this row, we have Prickly, and this once again is their Velvet Satin formula. So this is two rows so far. Then we have the last row. We're starting that off with Kata Kayai. I don't know. And this is a part of their Velvet Satin formula. Next we have Dragonfly. And Dragonfly is a part of their metallic formula. Two more left. We have Fruit Fizz. And Fruit Fizz is a part of their duochrome formula. And then lastly, but certainly not least, we have Effervescence, which is a part of the Sparkle Shadow formula. And that right there is Effervescence. Okay, so let me zoom out to make sure I can get my whole arm. In case you were wondering, I was just reading off that card that I talked to you guys about earlier. So there's the palette, and these are the swatches on my arm. Okay, so these are all the swatches of the palette. I do just want to show you guys what can happen if you don't pay attention to how you're swatching or taking the product out. It will get quite messy, so don't be like me. I just wasn't paying attention, honestly, when I was swatching that. But what I will do is try and pack that on there, and then also try and use some of this when I do my comparison. But now it is comparison time. I'm just going to clean off my arm, and then I will get my stained glass collection so that we can see if I have any dupes to the two that actually appear to be very similar formulations to their actual stained glass collection. So give me 1 second. Alrighty guys, so this is my collection of glitter iridescent multi-chromes, and these are the two that I have for their vibrant multi-chromes. Now there are a couple that I actually want to compare from this palette, so let's start off with the ones that actually have the exact names. So when it comes to Dragon Teeny, I really don't have a shade that I believe is a dupe in my collection. Granted, I don't have very many, but this is a part of their vibrant multi-chrome collection. As you can see, it's extremely pretty. Very, very pretty. And what I'm going to do is just swatch the two that I have, just so that you guys can see maybe the similarities or maybe even differences between the formula. I would say, just looking on camera, Dragon Teeny, which is actually in the palette, looks to be more multi-chrome, and I feel like you can see the shift a lot easier, probably because this base is a lot lighter than these two, and I feel like even a little bit less pigmented. I feel like the base in the two that I have from their actual stained glass collection is a lot more well, not necessarily vibrant, but a lot more opaque than the Dragon Teeny shade is. And if you're wondering, the two shades that I swatched, in the middle is Thorn. In the middle is Thorn, and on the outside is Majestic. If you would like to see my full Clionadh Cosmetics swatch video, I will have that down below for you all, but I just wanted to highlight certain shadows based on the formula that I saw. So that is the comparison there. Let me clean off my hand, and then we will look at comparing the glitter iridescent multi-chrome in this palette to the ones that I have here. Okay, so let's start with actually swatching the shade from the palette. I'm just going to try and kind of pick up all the excess that I kind of accidentally wasted, if you will, when I did that swatch just a minute ago. I'm trying to be just a little bit more gentle. Okay, so let's just start off just looking at the actual swatch. And my camera isn't actually really focusing. This is a really, really pretty shadow. As you can see, it's quite silver based, but there definitely is that green and blue to it as well. I don't think it's picking up as well on camera as I would want it to be, but there definitely is a pretty substantial shift in real life. So I'm just going to swatch the shades that just kind of look like they might be potential dupes, or at least give off the same vibes as the one in the palette. And since this section is just a little bit more cluttered, I think what I'm gonna do is just put on screen. Well, you know what? No, I'll stop being lazy. I will look Let me just swatch them all out really quickly. Okay, I am going to start from this side and then work my way in. So please just bear with me because I have to manipulate these shadows and I'm trying not to damage them. So this shadow right here is Glisten. This shadow right here is Glint. So we have Glisten and then we have Glint. This one is Gleam. This one is Gloaming. And lastly, but certainly not least, we have Gilding. Now, if we're looking from my perspective, I would say the shade that looks to have a very similar shift is actually this one. And I believe this one was named Glint. It is. So Glint has a very similar shift color-wise. The big difference, as I'm sure you guys can see, is the fact that the shade Bubbles is a lot more metallic, smooth, whereas Glint is a lot more actual sparkly, shimmery based. So, I mean, I would say it depends on you, which you would prefer, which you think you would get more use out of, if you think it is worth it to have them both in your collection. But overall, I do think that they have the exact same shift, if not maybe a very slight difference. It is just the actual texture that's different. But for me, I am happy to have them both, not only because they're in different kind of packagings. One is in my single shadows, the other one's in an actual palette, but I don't know, I just like Clionadh Cosmetics' formula, so I am just down with having everything, even if I dupe myself out in their own collection. Okay, so there is one other shadow that I actually wanted to try out, seeing if I could find a similar shade, and it's actually Effervescent. I know this doesn't technically say that it is a multi-chrome. Effervescent is technically a sparkle shadow, but it just looked so spoily and smooth and just scrumptious when I swatched it that I feel like it might be a similar formula or something to one of these. So I want to swatch it again and then we'll get into the weeds again. All right, so time to swatch Effervescent again. And swatching Effervescent, you can see it has a very light icy shade. From what I can see, it's more of a beige kind of nude. I wouldn't say it was a peach, even though I think in pan it might look a peach. Maybe beige nude, kind of more champagne-y, if you will. There is a green shift to it, and I think there also is some blue in there. You guys can also see some warmer pinky red in that kind of direction of my hand, and this is where you see the more cool. I don't think on camera it's picking up as a green blue, but it actually is in person. So this is really pretty. Once again, this is a lot more smooth metallic, and unfortunately I don't think I have a shade that kind of full on emulates this, but let's just swatch some Clionadh Cosmetics and see if we can come up with maybe a formula that this is similar to. Like, see, it looks very similar in texture to this formula, even though I don't have like maybe particularly a dupe. The texture just looks similar. It very so looks similar to that one as well, except for this one has a little bit of shimmer in there, whereas this one's just a straight up metallic and a lot less shimmer. Let's swatch one of these two. Ooh, This is a really nice texture too, but none of these really have the full-on shine that you get from that effervescence. I think at most that very first one that I swatched, so let's go through the names really quickly. The first one that I swatched, which is right here, is Vermilion, and this is one of their deep iridescent multi-chromes. This middle one that I swatched is one of their hybrid multi-chromes, and this is in the shade Chalice. And then this one on the far corner is from this middle grouping, and this is in Corrosion, and this is from their glitter multi-chromes. So I think if I had to choose, I would choose this formulation, which is once again the deep iridescent multi-chrome. I think that's the formula that it's most similar to. You get that high shine and you also get that slight sparkle in this formula right here. I'm not saying these are color dupes. I don't think I have a color dupe, just based on, you know, my preferences and kind of what caught my eye on the website. But I think formula wise, I feel like it's a very similar kind of finish to this formula. So maybe if you have a shade that looks similar or kind of sounds similar based on the shifts in their deep iridescent multi-chromes, maybe this shade isn't necessarily bringing anything new to your collection. So overall, I didn't want to do this part of the video, specifically the comparisons between the stained glass and the Dragonfruit, to talk you out of it, but I also just wanted to be transparent on what the information I have in the event that, you know, you don't want to spend money or you would rather not have duplicates in two different sections of your makeup collection. I hope that this was really helpful, telling you guys my thoughts, showing you guys those swatches. If there's any other kind of swatch comparisons that you would like, I decided to stick with only Clionadh Cosmetics in these comparisons. But if there is a brand that you know I have that you would like me to kind of swatch those kind of more special shades in this palette against each other, let me know. I don't mind doing it. I would just literally need to know that you were interested. So that's pretty much that. That's all I got for this section. Let us get into the looks because this is going to be a long video. Hey guys, so I'm really excited to bring you guys this video. Like I said in the intro, I don't want to get too far into it because I know this is going to be a very long video. But we are going to go ahead and start off this first look by applying the Fruit Lighter. I do already have blush and bronzer on, as well as of course everything else on my base, so I will have that down below for you all. Like I said, I only picked up one of the highlighters. I figured this would be the one that I would get the most use out of, and I really didn't have the money to buy the second one. This is, like I said, Entropico. This highlighter brush, I did end up picking up the set, and this is the DF06. It is a lot different of a shape that I usually go for, but I figured let's just try it, and we're just gonna try applying this. This is beautiful. This is so pretty. Okay, all right, I'm very, very happy with this. This is a very, I would say, kind of a baked gelée formula. I don't think this is a very thick or heavy formula, although I feel like you definitely can see some glitter and some shimmer, and I will come in so that you guys can really see it. But first impressions, really, really liking the shade of the highlighter and the formula so far. But like I said, this is literally your first impressions. And the brush is actually insanely soft. So that's nice. And I'm just gonna move the wig so I can have access to the area that I like to blend my highlighter on. Really, really beautiful shade. I can see some green. I think you guys can see some green right now, but there definitely is that like peachy base to it, which is nice. Okay, let me rearrange the bangs. All right, and let me come in closer so that you guys can really see this highlighter. So this is what she looks like. Really, really nice. I do have only artificial lighting. It's been raining all day, so there is no access to really natural lighting. I will try, if at all possible, to film one of these days with some natural lighting, but it's on the weather. The weather has to be decent a day that I get back from work. So loving that so far. I am just gonna really quickly do my lips, and then we will work on the eyes. I really like that. Okay, let's keep going. So we're zoomed in as far as I can go, I believe, and I scooted in as far as I can go on my table. Let's get this palette out. So this palette does come with the like covering on top. I'm sure I talked about that in the beginning, so I'm not going to harp on that. I haven't done any swatches, so I truly don't know what's our mattes and shimmers, but I think the satins are these four. So I'm going to start off just kind of trying to build a crease with those 4 shades, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to start with the fluffiest brush, which is the DF01. And I am going to go into the shade Sweetened right here. And that is, like I said, going to be my first shade. I believe this is one of the satin shades. And if you're wondering, my primer today is my Natasha Denona eyeshadow base, and I believe the shade is Medium. And I did not set any portion of this primer, in case you are wondering. So this satin is going on really, really nicely. It is extremely pigmented, and I feel like it is very true to color. I think they are definitely accurate in calling this a satin, as you can definitely see some sheen there. Okay, so I just blended that out. I think it looks really, really nice. Like I said, you can definitely see a sheen, so don't let that fool you. You will definitely see a sheen in your crease, but that's not a bad thing. I do just want to use just a slightly even fluffier brush just to get those direct edges. I just feel like that brush, although really nice, getting those direct edges to really smoothen out will be not as effective as it is with a fluffier brush like this one. And if you're wondering, this is the Wayne Goss 03. Fantastic brush. And it really just smoothed out those edges a lot more than I think I would have been able to with that brush. Although, like I said, very smooth and very soft brush. I don't think it was going to be able to blend that part out as well as, you know, I did with Wayne Goss brush. Okay, so next, I like depth. I like doing as much as I can. So I'm gonna go into the shade Prickly, which is the purple. I believe this is another one of the satins, and I'm just gonna use this brush. This is the DF02, and I'm gonna use this mainly just to deepen out that outer V area. I don't intend to really take this far from that area. I just really want to see if you can get some depth, and if I will enjoy the depth that I get from this palette. Okay, so for this palette, I think there is a slight amount of depth that I was able to get. Maybe with a even smaller packing brush I could get more, but I'm gonna try not to use too many extra brushes. I really want to stick with what they provided here, because I'm assuming the brushes that they chose because they thought they would work beautifully with this palette. So on the lid, I think I want to stick with this very warm kind of situation. And what am I gonna do? I think I want to try the shade Strawberry Pear, which is this really, really pretty peachy shade right here. So I think I'm gonna put that on my lid. And for that, this is an extremely small lid brush, like extremely small. I think I'm gonna use the more fluffy brush, which is the DF03. So that's what I'm gonna use. And I'm gonna go in, like I said, with Strawberry Pear. I want to see what it applies like without anything helping it, and then if I feel the need, I will either use my finger or go in with something else. Very, very pretty shade. I am just going to try going in with my finger and seeing if I can amplify it. So it looks like if you go in with your finger, you won't necessarily amplify it, but you'll get more opacity, which isn't bad either way. It's just more knowledge for me. Okay, and last we have inner corner highlight today, and I think I want to use, let's stick with the purple pink look that I got going on. So I think I'm going to use the shade Fruit Fizz. I think that's going to work really pretty with this look. Yeah, that's beautiful. Kind of looks like my highlighter. And I'm just going to go ahead and highlight my brow bone arch while I'm at it. And the brush that I reached for just now was the DF05. So this is my finished look. I'm really happy with it. I am just going to hop off camera, put on all the extra stuff, and I'll come back to show you guys like the official last look. Alrighty guys, so I decided to just stick with my normal lashes today. I think that this look doesn't call for any fake lashes, although I could have put some on, but I just didn't feel like it. I'm just enjoying how I look right now. So let me come in really quickly so that you guys can see the full-on finished look. So yeah, this is look number one. So far, I am sure you guys can tell I am stupid excited to continue playing with this palette. I think so far it has been very intriguing. I have some thoughts churning, but nothing solidified. Let's get into look number two right about now. Alrighty guys, so I wanted to go ahead and bring you guys my second and I think final look with this palette, at least on this video. And so I wanted to try as many shades as I can. We're just gonna dive right in because there are quite a few steps. First, what I'm gonna do, so I actually finally found the sheet. You guys will have seen the swatches before, but I didn't find the sheet until after I did the swatches, which were in between the two looks. So that's why yesterday I'm pretty sure I used some shades that actually weren't mattes or satins as satins. So for first thing, what I'm gonna do is go into Strawberry Pear, which is this beautiful shade up here, and I am actually gonna go ahead and put that in my inner crease with the biggest blending brush, which is the DF01. And I am just gonna kind of pack that into the crease area. I'm sure you guys can see the sheen. I can see the sheen, and I am gonna just start and go ahead and start blending. I'm gonna use a variety of techniques, windshield washes and windshield wiping motions, and then also just like small upward blending just to get that area blended. And I also did set my crease with my Project Pan shade, and I set my brow bone with my Project Pan shade. Then I'm gonna go into Kata Saya, I believe, and that is going to be my outer crease shade. Same brush, I just went ahead and wiped her off, and same exact technique. We're gonna kind of pack her on that outer crease. I am just gonna kind of start to build this look, including going down into my lower lash line. And then we're just gonna blend that outer edge. So yeah, that's that. Very light, but we'll discuss that a little bit later. Okay, then what I did is I went into one of the smallest brushes in this kit, which is the DF05, and I'm gonna start with actually building my lower lash line with that same deepener shade, which is Prickly. And I'm just gonna take that right up against the lower lash line. I am just gonna go ahead and start building this outer crease with this brush. I just want to kind of create my boundaries, if you will, with that crease brush. And I'm going to take a more packing outer V brush, which is the DF02, and that's where I'm going to really just pack this prickly shade on this outer V area. And I also am just going to go ahead and blend it with this brush as well. Then what I'm going to do is take kind of the bigger of the two flat brushes, and I'm going to take the DF03 and I'm going to go into the lid brush or lid shade, which is Infusion. This is really pretty lavender purple, and this is in their sparkly shadow formula. So I'm going to take that on this brush. I find that this shadow actually does not pick up very well on a brush, or I wouldn't even say it doesn't pick up well. It just gives you a very subtle coating of it, and for me, I like some opacity, especially on my lid shades. So I'm just gonna take my finger and really just dive in with that shadow, and I'm just gonna apply a nice layer all over the lid. Okay, and it just kind of naturally blended in with that outer V shade. I didn't really do anything crazy. Then I'm going to take the DF04 and I'm going to go into the shade Dragonfly, and I am just going to take this kind of really precise brush and I'm going to try and use it to my benefit and just kind of add a little bit of an accent. Because of my eye shape, it just naturally falls kind of lower than I want, but that's okay. I also did kind of put it on a weird placement on the brush, and if you, like me, kind of want to just go back and kind of reinforce and or blend those two shades, feel free. That's kind of what I did. And then kind of to round up this video, we're going to go back in, or with this look, we're going to go back in with the DF05. We're going to wipe that off. I use my pants. Feel free to use whatever you want. And then we're going to go into the shade Bubbles, which is kind of, I would say, the flakiest of all of these shadows and the most sensitive. And we're going to use this as an inner corner highlight. Be careful not to take too much, because this a little truly goes a long way when it comes to that shadow. So that's it. That's all I did. As you can see, I did put on lashes. I think the inner corner is lifting on this one, so I really want to try and see if I can fix that. But that's pretty much the look. I did put on black liner from LA Girl, and then my mascara, and then once again those lashes. So I'm just going to do all of that off camera really quickly, and then I'll come in to show you guys kind of the finished look. Okay, I had to tussle with these lashes, but I think I have them on decently well. Let's come in to see the finished look. So like I said, this is the finished look, and I am going to actually wrap up the tutorial part right now. I'm only going to do 2 looks in this video. I had originally wanted to do 3, but I didn't want this video to be an obscenely long one. If you're wondering, today on my cheeks as my highlighter, I actually did not use the highlighter from the collection. I actually went ahead and used Effervescence. I wanted to see if somebody maybe just wanted the eyeshadow palette, if they could, and still get a decent highlighter. I like it. I think it's nice. It's not nearly as glittery. There is still glitter in there, but I think it blends a lot more in with my complexion. So if you are my complexion and you felt like that other highlighter or the highlighter that I picked up was just too much, I think you still get a little bit of shift in there, but it's a lot more subtle for somebody of my complexion. I also did, just as you could see, wanted to really dive into a lot of these colors. I wanted to see how these greens really melded in with the kind of pinky peachy tones, and I think this is a very interesting palette. So let's get into the other things and then we'll really dive into this palette. As for the brushes, I think they are an extremely soft bristle, and these are, I'm 99% sure these are synthetic fibers. I think they're really nice. Do I think they would be a loss if you did not have the money to pick them up? No, but I think they are a nice addition to anybody's brush collection, and I think some of these sizes, which are very small, could work with somebody who has very small lid space or just likes really detail oriented brushes. The other kind of 2, or actually I guess 3 kind of eye brushes, I don't think are as unique shapes as these 2. These are quite small, whereas I feel like you could get these three somewhere else. As for the highlighter brush, this really is a nice size and all of that jazz. I like it. I'll use it. Either way, I'm going to continue to use these. I'm really happy I picked them up. But like I said, is it something that's like you must run out and pick up? No, but it's a nice addition to anybody's brush collection. And if you really liked the packaging and stuff, I would recommend it. As for the highlighter, now I've only used it once, but from the one time that I did use it, I will say a little goes a long way. Definitely, if you are not somebody who likes a blinding, gleaming, glittery type highlighter, I wouldn't recommend this. This definitely has some glitter in there and it's definitely beaming. I do kind of tend to overpower my cheeks when it comes to my highlighter, but that's just me. I really like the base coloring of this one, and I hope that Clionadh Cosmetics continues on with this kind of formula. I don't believe that their previous highlighter formulas in their range has ever been like this more baked gelée formula. I believe they were a little bit more powdery, so I would love to see them kind of extend this range but in their permanent collection, because I think this is really, really nice. And I think they could also do something where it's not necessarily multi-chrome. I would love to just see some more like one noted shades, maybe glitter, maybe not. I think there's so many people kind of getting into the market that yes, everybody likes a nice multi-chrome highlighter, but some people don't. And so maybe just doing like a one noted highlighter I think would be nice. But regardless, once again, I really do like that highlighter. Is it a must-have? For me, maybe, because I don't have very many multi-chrome highlighters, and I definitely don't have multi-chrome highlighters that give that amount of shine and that amount of beautiful glitter in there. Like I've said multiple times, I do like a glittery highlighter. I find that if you blend it out perfectly with the right brush, you really get a glass cheek type look. So I do like that, but if you don't like it, I definitely would not recommend it. For me, this would definitely be like a must-have, and I am kind of considering picking up the other highlighter just because of how much I really did enjoy and do enjoy that highlighter so far. Okay, now getting back to the eyeshadow palette, I like it. I do. I like the eyeshadow palette. I really, really do. What I will say is kind of this. I find that with the variety of textures that you are presented, I really, really appreciate that. I love a palette that gives you multiple different textures. Although this one does not give you mattes, it definitely gives you some really interesting formula when it comes to satins, and then you have a variety of kind of metallic to kind of a more shimmery finish. If I had to say, do you see the stained glass collection in here? I think that you do get presented a couple of shadows that actually have a stained glass-ish effect. These two, which are the bigger pans, I think they kind of give you that effect. I also think Infusion, and I also think Dragonfruit. Those are the four that to me you really get kind of a stained glass effect, whether it's kind of dictated on this sheet or not. Then you get into the kind of more satin formula. This is definitely a unique satin formula to me. I don't have a lot of satins in my collection. That's not a finish that I really tend to gravitate a lot, but it's something that if you are one of those people who does like one shadow in the crease, or maybe you just want to do a one shadow look, I think a satin could be really beneficial to you. Also, if you're someone like kind of like Laura May Beauty, she likes to like put like a cream on her lid and then kind of slowly blend it out, whether it's with the shadow or not. I think satins would be really beneficial to you. As for me, I don't think satins will ever overtake my love when it comes to mattes, but I do enjoy this formula. I hope that I was able to show you guys that this formula, although does leave a sheen in your crease, it blends out beautifully. So that is something that is really, really nice. And yeah, I think this is nice. I think it's nice. I do want to kind of talk about these two types of greens. So one is a satin formula and the other one is a metallic formula. And what I would have wished is a couple of things. I would have wished that these two greens kind of went better with each other. For the person that needs to do an all green look or aspires to do an all green look with this palette, I think that the two greens kind of clash in a way to me. I think that this green, at least on my lid today, pulls a little bit more tealy than it does green. And so you don't really get, I would say, like a seamless one color look if you use these two greens in the same look. Additionally, I wish that there was more than just prickly to really deepen out your looks with this palette. I do love to kind of deepen out my looks, whether it's in my outer crease, whether it's my lower lash line, whatever. And I would have appreciated if there was more deepener shades. That said though, the formula of this palette is really, really nice. Is this going to be kind of a new favorite for me? No, I don't think so, but I am really, really happy to have this in my collection so far. I do definitely have some more testing out to do, so I wouldn't say like these are final thoughts. These definitely aren't final thoughts. I've only done 2 looks with this palette, and I've only kind of used all of these products a couple of times, but these are kind of my impressions so far. I think that this is a solid collection and a solid collaboration. So if there's one product from this collaboration that you are really, really gravitating towards, I would definitely recommend it. But then at the same time, to me, if I had to say kind of rank these in what I would want to kind of repurchase if I had to repurchase, I really would highly repurchase this highlighter. And like I said, I am considering getting the second one. I don't know if this collection is sold out, but I will link it down below. I also would definitely repurchase the brushes, although once again, it's not a must-have, but like let's say I'm making another order from Clionadh, I would throw in a brush bundle there. And I do like the palette, I really, really do, but the sheen that I still see in my crease, although it blends out beautifully, is not something that currently I am attracted to. Who knows? In a couple of years, I may enjoy a satin in my crease. I still have quite young lids though. I am still in my 20s. So I don't think that the effect that you get from a satin, which is a lot more gentler on somebody who has more wrinkly lids or just older lids in general, is something beneficial to me. So I think that's it. Was there anything else? I don't think there was anything else that I needed to say. I'm gonna remember something at the end, and I'm gonna be pissed. But like I said, I am very, very happy I picked up this collection. Once again, congratulations to you, Emily Violet Marie. I really like this collection so far, and I can't wait to continue to dive in with this collection, trying more things, testing it out further to give you guys my final thoughts. Oh, that was the one thing that I wanted to say. I actually will say this. I appreciate that they went the satin route instead of the matte route when it comes to Clionadh Cosmetics, because I have found in the previous 2 palettes that I picked up that their mattes don't always hit the mark. And so I think it was definitely a safer bet for the brand to go the satin route with these metallics foil shades that we already know they do fantastic, than to do another palette with something matte. So in that case, I definitely think they made the better decision, if that was even kind of in the conversation. So yeah, that's it. I will see you guys probably tomorrow. Who knows? I have a lot of content I want to push out this week. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye guys.